Hi, it's Martin and welcome to another video on my Knit365 YouTube channel. Today's video is my August roundup where I grab all of the things and tell you what I got up to in the month of August. Coming up on today's episode, we have a finished object, half a finished object, lots of spinning, some crochet, some more knitting, and the launch of something big. Really big. But hi, how are you? I hope that you are all well, and thank you very much for joining me today where I will fill you in on all the things I got up to during August. It's been a bit of an action-packed month, although I don't feel like I've finished as much as I probably should have. It is currently Sunday, the 31st of August, as I film this. I'm not going to finish anything this afternoon, so I feel like I can film this bit. And then you'll be watching this on Monday, the 1st of September. Mark is here. He's pottering around. You might see him. We've been out to IKEA to buy candles. Why else do you go to IKEA? We've been to see my parents. We've taken the dog home because the dog was here for the night. He's now looking at a box of something to cook. Do you need my readers?
No, it's okay. You're not that old yet.
You're not that old yet. He's older than me. You're right. You're doing this though, like you do need some kind of readers.
No, I'm just trying to find the actual cooking instructions.
Anyway, so thank you very much for popping along. And if you are a new viewer, hi, you're very welcome. In these roundups, I talk about finished objects, acquisitions. I don't think there's been any acquisitions. Not real acquisitions. I've had a big box of yarn delivered. We'll talk about that later. And works in progress and things that I want to make some progress with this month. We will touch on Mystery Knit Along. Oh my God, it's coming. The teaser's out. We'll touch on that later as well. Oh, best time of the year. And so if you're new, hi, welcome. It often gets a little bit crazy around here, but I really thank you for stopping by and giving me a little bit of your time. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button because it's free for you to join my community and it's wonderful to have you here. And you are very welcome. If you're a returning viewer, of course, hi, welcome back. Thank you so much for giving me a bit of your time on this Monday evening. If you're watching it as soon as the video goes out, of course. Otherwise, you might be watching it at any time. So thanks for giving me a little bit of your time. Right, shall we get going? Shall we do finished objects? A little slurp pop. I showed this off on my membership video. My very good friend Rian made me this cup. We're not getting into merch. Not yet. I don't think so. But it keeps drinks cool and it keeps drinks warm and it's very, very cool. So yeah, thank you, Rian, for the lovely gift. So let's do finished objects. Yes, I was going to talk about things that I've got coming up. Like I'm going to Glasgow for the Glasgow School of Yarn. I'm going to Yarndale. We'll do what else is coming. We'll do that at the end. Yes, let's stick with the format. So I have one finished object, proper finished object. So I finished my socks. I think I talked a few videos ago that I just needed to graft the toes, which I have now done. These haven't been blocked and I have been wearing them. So apologies that you're seeing a pair of worn socks, but there will also be a sock dance come in at the end of this video. So stay tuned for more information. So these are the Stargazy Socks by Anton of the Raw Wool Company. I will pop all the details below. I don't think the pattern is yet on general sale. I was lucky enough to test knit these for Anton. And for those of you that watched my Florida roundup video, you will know that I took these on holiday with me. So these are they'll always be my Florida socks now because I was knitting them while I was away. But as you can see, they are kind of shorty socks. So they're not as long up the leg, although you could absolutely customize the pattern to make them any length that you want. They are made with sport weight yarn as opposed to the usual 4-ply fingering weight sock yarn. And they are so warm. and squishy. I personally love woolly wool, and these are very much woolly. So they are made using Anton's raw wool yarn. And yeah, it's a top-down construction with this mosaic knitting slip stitch pattern. Standard heel, flap and gusset. And with the mosaic knitting, you have the pattern starting here. Then when you get to the top of the sock, let me take one off the blocker. Top of the sock continues with the mosaic pattern. So effectively it comes all the way down the foot. And then the reverse, as you're doing the heel and gusset, it's just a plain section. And then once you've decreased back to the number of stitches that you need to, you then pick the mosaic back up. So it's a really nice little design feature. But it also means that you're only ever knitting with one colour per round. So it's really, really lovely, mindless pattern. The way that I caught the floats, because when you're doing this section here, you are carrying the yarn back around so that it's here for the mosaic. You can see a couple of my floats where I did change, where I was catching the float in the same place every time. But that is a me issue, not a pattern issue. And I'm sure when I do eventually wash and block them, I can pull the stitch and I can hide that float on the inside. But it's a really, really quick knit because it's sport weight, which we don't really have a lot of in the UK, but because it's sport weight, it's kind of in between fingering and DK. They're actually quite a quick project. I did mine on 3.5mm needle for the main body, or the main part of the sock, and I used a 3.25 for the ribbon. So I finished my socks. So let me put this back on the blocker because this could probably be the thumbnail for the video. Do we want it like this? Or like this? We'll hold both poses and then we'll see in the edit. But yes, I'm really happy that I finished these. And I've used, I think, I've written the measurement down, the weight down. I think it's about 75, 76 grams of yarn I've used. So that's another win for my use more stash than I bring into the flat. Graph fans amongst you, I know this is the second month now, but there's no graphs today. I'm really sorry. I've had quite a busy week. It's been a little bit crazy with work. And I've not really done a lot of crafting this week, but that does mean that there are no graphs. So those of you that aren't graph fans, breathe a sigh of relief. If you are new here and you want to know what I'm up to, at the start of the year, I decided that I wasn't going to go on a yarn ban because that was never going to happen. I've tried it before, it doesn't work. And I also think it's important to support small business as well. And if we all went on yarn bans, our favourite dyers would eventually end up going out of business as well. So I decided not to go on a yarn ban, but I decided to try and be more mindful with my stash and just try to use more yarn than I bring in. Like at the beginning of the year, I had enough yarn in my stash to make probably 4 or 5 shawls, 3 or 4 jumpers, however many socks. So I'm just trying to use more stash. So these, I did buy the yarn for this test, but I've bought the yarn and I've used the yarn. So that is good. It's not just buying in yarn and then it just sitting in my stash. And Mark is here and can say, I've been quite good, haven't I?
Yeah.
I really have. I honestly declared everything. So I have used more yarn. So this is a polish the halo moment because we'll count this as stash yarn. But I do need to sit down and I need to do the weigh-in. I need to update the spreadsheet because when the what are you looking at? Show you the receipt. When I update the spreadsheet, the graphs will update. So maybe we'll do the graphs at some. Maybe I'll update the mid-month. And then those of you that love the graphs, you can see where we've got to. But I don't think I've got any acquisitions this month that I've purchased. I've got a big box of yarn here to talk about, but I've not bought any yarn, I don't think. No. Not yet. We will see. There's still time in August to buy yarn, but there's nothing though, and I've got no acquisitions that I'm going to show off to you. So overall, I am still down on the year, which is good. I've used more yarn than I've bought in. Fibre is equal. However, I've got a lot of fibre that I've spun up. So I think fibre's probably level pegging as well. Whereas I was a little bit worried a few months ago, I was bringing in loads of fibre and I wasn't really spinning it. I've got 6 braids of fibre to show you coming up, which is exciting because I've had a bit of a spin-off. So yeah, I'm feeling really pleased with my progress. I have some big things coming up. So I've got my heavy metal rock and roll jumper that I've got to sort out. I've got to get a wiggle on with that because I've not even started it yet. And the lads are halfway up the front from the knit group. I'm part of a knitting group now with some really good friends, and we are doing a heavy metal inspired jumper. I'm not going to say any more on that. I will actually pop a link below to my Instagram post if you want to go and see what I'm talking about. But I need to buy the yarn for that. That's going to be Aran yarn, but I'm hoping I can bring that in and I can use it quite quickly. But I need to bring that in, so that's going to be a lot of yarn. And of course, Mystery Knit-alongs come in, so I need to buy yarn for that, but that will also be being used. So I feel like the projects I've got in plan between now and the end of the year, I'm feeling okay. I still feel like we can end the year in a positive position where I've used more yarn than I've bought in. Everyone cross their fingers. And if you're joining me on this trying to be more mindful mission, let me know in the comments below. We will see how we get on. So that's my one finished object, and then my half finished object. So I can show this off now because the pattern is done and is finished. So this is my complete Mystery Knit-along sock. This is Delectable Collectible, I think they were called. Let me pop it on the blocker. So you can see it in all its glory. So this was is the Mystery Knit-along sock by Stephen West. And every year, I think this is the 3rd year, we've been doing a Mystery Knit-along sock in the summer. And this is my finished sock. Notice the word singular, sock. So these, I was really fortunate to be a test knitter for this project, and it was such a great one to test. So if I hold it up close, you can see it without me waving it around. So we started here with a twisted rib into a Latvian braid, and then we've got this like almost teardrop shape. We've got some bubbles, some little dots. We've got some brioche, whoop whoop. Brioche on a sock was my first time brioching on a sock, and I was really happy with how that turned out. And then, as with lots of Stephen's patterns, the pattern detailing continues down the top of the foot, and then the bottom of the foot is just plain stocking stitch. And we've got a really funky toe. And what was great about this, nearly spilt my pop. What was great about this sock is the heel as well. So the heel is a wedge heel. So rather than it being, it was a standard heel toe and heel flap and gusset construction. But what I really liked was the short rows. So you can see here we've got the wedges. So that was a new to me style of heel. So I finished the test knit, and I finished it 2 weeks ahead of the deadline. I know, who even am I? Which it never ever happens, and I don't really know how I managed it, but I was very pleased and very proud. It was definitely one of those socks, because of the way that the sections go, it was one more section, because this is like 6 rows, 4 or 5 rows, I think. The brioche took me a little longer, because, you know, it's brioche, and I'm me, and I made a mistake. But I can't show you the mistake, because I fixed it. And I'm really happy that I fixed the brioche error. I did my usual error where I forgot one of the yarn overs and it had a little shawl around it. So I dropped it down, picked up a crochet hook and laddered it back up. I was really happy. And then if I just show you the inside of the brioche. So we've got the light and the dark, and then on the outside, we've got the dark and the light. So I finished sock 1 well ahead of the test knit deadline. I said, very proud of myself. And I'm really thankful to Stephen for letting me be one of the test knitters and testing this. And I got gauge and blocked in, measured and weighed and everything. And then I started with good intentions on sock number 2. And that's as far as I got. Because you know me, I love to start new things or flit around different projects. And I didn't get any further. So I've still got... What did you say then?
I said that's unlike
That's unlike you. I'm not sure if I like it when he's here when I'm filming. You being shady in the corner.
Who, me?
Who, you? Put your candles out and be quiet. Fall is now here, autumn. The fall sounds so much more romantic than the autumn. But it's 1st of September tomorrow, so the Burr months have arrived. September, October, November, December. I am a very happy boy. I've got a shawl out already, because it was cold the other night. So I grabbed one of my shawls and I was sitting on the sofa and I was like, we've made it. We've made it through the summer. Nearly. It's quite warm today though. I've got shorts and a t-shirt on. But I got distracted and I never finished the second sock. And it was only as stupid as the next section on the second sock that I've got to do is the mini bobbles. And because I'm using wooden needles, you're going to be ready for the worst excuse in the world now why I've not finished this sock. The next section is the little bubble section. And it's really hard to knit 3 together with these needles. And it wasn't good enough light. The evening that I reached that point, I was like, oh, I can't knit that now because it's too dark for my little old eyes to be able to see the bobbles. So I put it down and haven't picked it back up. But I do feel like it could be a task this evening, maybe. We'll see. Now I've got it back out, I'm kind of motivated to get it finished. Because once I got through that bobble section, then you're into the brioche. The rest of it is relatively quick, if I remember. I thought he was going to be shady again then. Come here. Come and say hello to people. And don't be shady. Oh, what have you got there?
Candlesticks.
Winter's coming. Autumn's coming. We're going to get all the candles out and a few little pumpkins. So I've got 1.5 finished objects because I've got a half finished sock that I could show you. Loads of you guessed that this was what I was knitting on when I said I'm doing a secret test knit, but I can't tell you about it. It was, in fact, this. I can confirm as well, before anyone asks, I am not test knitting the Mystery Knit Along shawl. That doesn't go out to the general release. I'm not sure I want to do it either. Irina and I talked about this before. If I ever had an opportunity, I'm not quick enough to do the mystery shawl test. But I'm not sure I would want to. I love the community part of the Mystery Knit Along. And I'm not sure it would be the same if I knew what was coming. And I was knitting along or trying to pretend with you. So no, I'm not in the inner sanctum for that test knit. I have test knit the sock, but not the shawl. So the plan for this month, for September, on my knitting plan, is to finish this sock, if I can finish it at all. I've got a weekend away next weekend with some friends. I'm going to a brass band competition. Brass bands rule. So I might take that sock with me because that's good knitting while I'm sitting and listening, although it's a pattern, so we'll see. Sorry. It's fine. You just if you want to make noise, I don't mean this to sound shady now. If you need to make noise, just make a noise rather than...
Do it gingerly.
Yeah, because you're quietly trying not to make a noise, and then it's like when you whisper, isn't it? You actually make more noise whispering than you would if you just talk really quietly. So I'm away next weekend, so I might take that with me as a project. It might not be the best because I said it's got a pattern, so we'll see. But I hope to get it finished during September. Anyway. Right. So that's it for finished objects. I have also just realised, because I haven't updated the spreadsheet with the graphs, I don't have my list of how many whips I've got, which is probably a good thing. I will do a mid-month update. I will get the graphs up to date for those of you that want the stats, and I'll work out how many whips I've got. And then let's do a video. What can I finish this side of Christmas? Because I've got a lot of ambition with those socks. My Wicked socks I want to get finished before the Wicked movie comes out. My big project, the bear. Mission It Along. My rock and roll jumper. Mark's jumper.
I want that by Christmas or there's no dinner.
I want that by Christmas or there's no dinner. In fairness, you have been very patient. But
I mean this Christmas.
Well, I know that. And you've also been saying, look.
I was supposed to have it for Denmark, and that was years ago.
Yes, you were having it for Denmark. When did we go to Denmark? God, that was a long time. That was a Vlogmas ago.
We've been twice.
You weren't having it for the first one. I hadn't started by that point. Okay, and Mark's jumper. But I've also started another jumper for me, didn't I?
Oh, sugar.
And there's a shawl in it. Let's do...
I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's not a jumper, it's a front and a back.
It is a front and a back. It's a tank top. I will do a video in September of all of my whips, and we'll try and make a plan for the end of the year. A lot of it is going to depend on how long this bear takes me, which we'll come on to in a minute. Right, that's all the whips that I've got. They're really cute, those candles. Can I show people the candle holder? We've been to IKEA, as I said, so we've got some orange candles because, you know, nothing says fall more than orange. Can I have that candle and the candlestick, please? They're a lot brighter on camera than they are in real life. They're not quite as vibrant in real life as they're showing up on the camera. But, and there's a third one. We're going all out for fall. I think it's because we've been to America this year. And I can remember just like Thanksgiving and Halloween, and like there was stuff everywhere at Disney for the theming and the season. So we're gonna...
I want a pumpkin on the stoop.
You want a pumpkin on the stoop. We haven't got a stoop outside. I've got loads of the pumpkins though I have crocheted. We've probably got 10 or 11 pumpkins I've crocheted over the year. That's not too bad. Anyway, we digress. Do you want your candlesticks back?
Oh, okay.
They're in the way of my wall. Yes, so that's the end of my finished objects. Where should we go next? Let's do some spinning. So I'm going to show these two skeins off very briefly. There's a whole project video coming because there's a difference in them. And I'm not going to draw out the difference now, but I'll talk about it. But I finished 2 spins by James Makes Things. So James made dyed some fibre. This was his Tamagotchi colourway. And I spun both of them up. One is for me and one is for my good friend Charlotte. Not sure which way round they're going to go yet. I need to get in touch with Charlotte. We need to get together and say hello. But showing them off because I did these in August. So these were 100 gram braids and I spun them up. And more information will follow in a future blog. There's a story, there's a thing, there's a different technique. I had a wonderful time spinning them. So we'll talk about that in another video. The other thing I've spun up then, so long-time viewers will know, viewers since January will know that I'm an enthusiastic spinner. I'm not very quick, but I really enjoy the process. And I signed up for the Mystery Fibre Club from Gemma of The Little Grey Girl, who, actually, I should say, the yarn, in case anyone was wondering, this was by Gemma of The Little Grey Girl. It is a 5 skein fade set. 6 skein fade set in teals. I used 5 colours on mine, so there's another colour. There's a darker one again, which I didn't use. So someone might want to know. So they were minis by Gemma, which I picked up on her website. So back to the spinning. So I'm part of Gemma's monthly fibre club. Every month I get 100 grams of fibre, and I get a semi-solid and a variegated. And then what I've been doing is spinning them up and plying them on each other and getting this really, really cute barber pole style yarn. So I was quite behind. I've been behind all year. My plan was I get each month, I spin it up, and then I knit it into 3 swatches, 3 squares. By the end of the year, I will have enough squares to make a blanket, and it will be my own hand-spun, hand-knit blanket, which will be a really lovely thing to just cuddle up on the sofa with. And I quite quickly got behind. So while I was away in Florida, I was 3 knits behind. I'd done the spinning, but I hadn't done any of the knitting. So I knit 9 squares while I was away. And then I quickly realised that I had more to spin when I came home. So I've now done all the spinning. So for all of the clubs that I had, I'm now up to date. I now need to do all the knitting. So I think I talked in the last video about this, and I was behind. And I asked for all your advice and said, what should I do? Shall I do spin, knit, or shall I do all the spinning, all the knitting? And you almost unanimously, there was a few people that said spin, knit, but pretty much everyone else said spin it all, knit it all, which is what I've done. So we have the May Club, which obviously you can see is this like really lovely wine burgundy colour, is the semi-solid with these really baby pastel-y colours as the variegated. So that was May. Then I want to say June was this one. So we've got the green with these orangey, yellowy pinkies. So this is the June spin. July was the summery one. So we had the yellow as the semi-solid, and then this really fun, so we've got purples and blues. There's a big flash of yellow here because when I spun it, I obviously didn't spin it consistently enough between the two, and I had quite a lot of the yellow left. So I must have spun the yellow thinner than I spun as the solid, than I spun the other. So I just added the yellow when I've done it on the Niddy Noddy. I've taken it off and I just carried on with the yellow, and I just plied the yellow back on itself. So I'll have, when I wind this up, I'll have a yellow mini on its own. This one also reminds me of, if you've been to America and you've been to Epic Universe, this reminds me of Stardust Racers so much. The yellow and the greens, the colour palette, it screams Stardust Racers. So that was the July club. I'm not very good at skein, so that one's going to have to stay really loosey-goosey now. And then the other one that I spun up is the summer box. So interestingly, and I've talked to Gemma about this, so these looked completely different. I didn't take photos of them, so I can't show you the before and after skeins, sadly. But just believe me that these started life as 2 completely different fibres. One where it was the green with all these really lovely pastel-y colours. This was the summer box colour, and on the braid it really, really looked like this orangey, yellowy, lilac-y, bluey. And I don't know how it's turned out so green, and Gemma said the same thing. Obviously there was much more green than we thought. Yeah, so I'm not mad about the fact that I've got 2 that look similar. They do look like they came from the same braid, and they absolutely weren't, because this was the Summer Club special that was much more pastel-y, and this was the June Club. But yeah, it just worked out that way. And that's okay, because what I'm doing is I'm knitting up the squares, and at the end of the year, I'll block them all. I might block some as I'm going so that they're done and ready by the end of the year. But I'm not going to construct the blanket and sew them all together until I've finished. Because what I then want to be able to do is lay the squares down and then almost say, right, these 9, these 9, these 9, and kind of do them by colour families so that it won't be like a shifting colour, but it will kind of be light to dark or greens to browns. I don't know. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm going to wait until I've lined them all up. So the fact that these two are similar, it'll be interesting to see what they are when they are knitted up, as to how different they knit up compared to how they look in the skeins. But I've had a bit of a spinning month because with all of these, I've spun up 600 grams of fibre this month. So for my using more than I'm bringing in, I'm now up to date with the fibre that I've had so far. And I'm really happy. So I need to wash these. So I'll do that now once I finish this video. I was going to do that yesterday, but knowing that I needed to film my roundup, they would have still been wet and dry in, and I couldn't show them off to you. So now I will give them all a bath. They can all have a little relax. I'm really happy. If I undo, they're going to have to be undone to go on. I'm really happy that they are all quite balanced as well. So this is something else I've been learning. So when you just have the braid spun up, that's a balanced braid because it just sits here. However, one of them is not quite balanced. I think it's the July one. It might be the summer one. I'm sure it's one of these. Yeah, is it that one? No, there's one that's got that one's quite balanced as well. One's got an actual twist in it. Unless it's just settled down now. Oh, maybe the twist has come out because they've been skiing for a couple of days. I'm going to have to undo the fourth one now because now I'm going to look like a fool if one of them doesn't have a twist. One of them definitely had a twist because I should mark it. Oh, right, is it that one? Yeah, kind of. So you can see it kind of twists in on itself a little bit more. It was a bit more pronounced. Am I going mad? Did I show you?
Yeah, you did. One definitely had a twist.
Yeah, because I remember I was saying, oh, look, I'm actually quite pleased that was quite balanced. Maybe just the resting has meant it had a bit more balance. But I'm really happy with them. And they're all kind of consistent. So I think I'm still... these look like a double knit thickness. Now, my downside is, as soon as I wash them, they're going to go... and they plump up. Which I need to work out how and what that means about my spinning. If any of you know, let me know in the comments below. Why does my fibre always plumes a lot when I wash it? So what's going to now go from, say, a light double knit will be firmly in the Aran bracket. Now, I'm not mad about that because that means that I'm still consistently spinning. So for my blanket project, where I'm making squares, that's okay because that means that they're all still roughly the same size. They've got the same number of stitches and rows. The gauge is roughly the same. So the actual finished blanket itself will be pretty even. But at some point, like say with Mystery Knit Along come in, I'm not going to do it. I definitely don't have enough time this year. But say I was going to spin a shawl's quantity of fibre. Like some of this is quite fine, for example, like there. That's quite a good thickness. It looks a little bit thicker in real life. That's probably closer to a fingering weight, that strand itself. But when I wash that then, that gets really thick. So I don't think I can spin fingering weight at the moment because what I think my singles as being lace thin, so I'm spinning a lace weight single to then make it a fingering weight when it's plied, that would become double knit because it's really swelling. And I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm okay at the moment because I'm spinning mostly for my blanket. But if anyone's got any feedback or any tips, please let me know in the comments below because I would love some advice if you've got any to share. Because at some point, maybe next year, I would love to be spinning enough to be able to get a shawl quantity and do a Mystery Knit Along with my own hand spun. That would be amazing. But yeah, I'm really happy with everything I've spun. It's been a good old month. So that's most of my whips. I should say that's most of the whips I've worked on in the month. So let's talk crazy projects. So this month, August, it's the 1 year anniversary of my Martyn bear pattern. The little gaggle of bears are over there. So this is the pattern. This is Martyn the Tibetan Blue Bear by Kerry Lord of Toft. And I was so lucky last year to be immortalised in a bear and join the menagerie. So there's a whole video, if you're new here and you want to see how Martyn bear came to life, there's a whole video series we did a bear along, and I went to Toft and we designed him together, and yeah. So it's been a year since Martyn came to life. And what I wanted to try and do to celebrate the 1 year anniversary was try and see what could I do? How do we celebrate that? And did you know there's a bear sanctuary here in the UK, the Wildwood Trust. They're down in Kent. They also have a centre in Devon, I think it is. And they rescue and rehome bears from around the world that have been mistreated in captivity, that have been previously part of a zoo or an exhibit, that are now in danger, that they need rescuing. And it's incredibly sad, some of their stories. But the Wildwood Trust do incredible work to rescue and rehome brown bears. Now, the Tibetan blue bear, he's a little bit grey colour with this kind of creamy oatmeal fringe, and that's how they look. If you Google a Tibetan blue bear, this is kind of how they look. And actually the oatmeal kind of comb that he's got around his neck kind of shimmers a silvery colour in some light, and that's where the blue bear reference comes from. But ultimately, it is a distant cousin of the brown bear. The brown bears are the ones that get rescued by the Wildwood Trust. So there felt like a real lovely story there about actually the Tibetan blue bear is almost extinct. In some parts of research that I was doing when I was looking for what type of bear I wanted to be, they're based in the Himalaya, or they were based in the Himalayas, and I think there's been like one sighting in the last few years. They're extremely rare, if not extinct. So that was where he came along. And we talked to a Kerry at the time about maybe it being a conservationist. So they have a conservationist club in Toft where they talk about endangered species or extinct species. So Martyn nearly made it into the conservationists. But we decided to bring him into the main menagerie. And then Kerry decided to bring him into the main menagerie. And it's a really lovely story that he is a distant cousin of the brown bear. So what I'm doing is I'm going to try and raise some funds. I want to raise £500 for the Wildwood Trust, who do incredible work to rescue the cutest bears. I love a bear. The cutest bears. And I want to try and raise £500 during September for the Wildwood Trust to help them continue to rehome bears from around the world that need support with a giant bear. So this is what my September is going to be. And not the greatest of timing with Mystery Knit Along come in and all the other things I want to do. But you know me, I love a challenge. And I'm hoping that you're going to love a challenge as well. So I got a 15mm hook. I've also got a 12mm hook. So I've got a 15mm hook and a 12mm hook. And I've got some yarn that was being very kindly donated by Stylecraft, who are sponsoring the project. And I swatched a couple of days ago. So my plan is to throughout September, make a giant Martyn bear. So Stylecraft very kindly donated a box of yarn. There are 40 balls, 39 because I've got one out. There are 39 balls in this box. And we've got the same colours as the original Martyn bear. So we've got a brown, a creamy oatmeal, and a grey. And I'm going to supersize Martyn. Now, Stylecraft, I contacted them and explained what I was looking to do, raise money for the Wildwood Trust, do something crazy and try and crochet a giant bear. And they very kindly agreed to sponsor my efforts. So it is with huge thanks that I've got that yarn from Stylecraft. And the reason I'm using the Stylecraft is because it is a lot of yarn that I need. So I've got 40 balls of yarn that I think I've estimated correctly, but we will see. That's another thing, because he's got loop stitches and funny ears, but I've got 40 balls of yarn. So the Stylecraft yarn makes it an affordable way of crocheting something really big. But also I want to try and take the giant Martyn to the bear sanctuary to maybe meet the bears. That would be like for me, I've never seen a bear in real life. So to see someone with a really sad story, but actually with a happy ending, and then hopefully we can raise some money for the Wildwood Trust to help towards the ongoing cost of looking after the bears. There'll be a really lovely moment if we can try and take giant Martyn there. And I'm kind of happy, I've talked to them about leaving Martyn there. So if I did leave it there and they did want the big bear, by using the acrylic yarn, that means it's more durable, kids can play with it, he can be left in a day room, or it's a bit more easier than 100% pure wool, which would have been really expensive and needs hand washing and extra care. So the fact that I've used the Stylecraft yarn as well then means it's a bit more durable. And when Toff make their really giant, their massive ones, they use the Stylecraft yarn as well. So thank you again to Stylecraft for sponsoring the video. So in the description box below, there is a link to a crowdfunder where I did this a few years ago, where I did my Pride collection and people could enter to win a prize. There's no real prizes this year. I just want to see if you are able to, if regular viewers of here, I get 3,000 to 4,000 viewers. If everyone just donated £1, we would make a lot of money. I'm going to donate all of my YouTube money for September, so that will probably be £170, £180. Despite it being a YouTube channel, we don't make, it's not a big money spinner, as in enough to give up work. That's the whole thing about my memberships, which thank you if you've been and joined to become a member of the Bear Den. Thank you so much. You know who you are. You're part of that journey. There's a whole separate video series over there. But I'll donate my YouTube money this month as well to the cause. So that will go in. But if anyone can just chuck in £1 or $1 or a something, it would be super appreciated. And the link is below, and there's more information on the crowdfunder then about the Wildwood Trust and the reasons why I'm doing it. So my plan throughout September is to try and finish a giant bear. I have no idea how big it's going to be. All I can tell you is, if that's the pad of his foot, that there, that's this. So what I'm doing is I'm going to make a super, super chunky. So I've got the chunky yarn and I'm holding it 4. So 4 strands. This was a 15mm hook. I'm actually going to do it on a 12mm because the 15 is quite holy. And the thing with amigurumi style crochet is you want it to be a quite tight texture so that the stuffing doesn't poke through. So the 15, even though the fabric is quite nice, it is a little bit holy and I don't really want that. So I'm going to use a 12mm hook, but still do it 4-stranded. So we'll see how we go throughout the month on how big this is going to get, but it's going to be big. There might not be room. If I get to take him to Kent to meet the real bears, there might not be room in the car for Mark. You might have to sit on the back seat. He might have to sit in your seat and be seat belted in. That would be good content. So I will pop along and I'll probably do them as more shorts to check in on the progress. I'm going to be talking about it over on Instagram and TikTok more regularly. It won't be a daily video, but I will try and keep checking in regularly throughout the month as I'm going. And yeah, I just think it's such a worthy cause. There's a really lovely story about these poor little Tibetan blue bears are pretty much extinct. we really want to support all the brown bears that are out there. So if you can help in any way, even if you can't help financially, that is absolutely fine. Feel free to share my content or share links with other people so that other people can see what I'm up to. And hopefully you'll join me as a cheerleader of a Martyn bear. If you bought Martyn bear last year and you've got him in your stash and you were waiting for the reason to start the pattern, feel free to join me. I'm not expecting you to go crazy and hold 4 strands. But if you want to join in, of course, that would be a wonderful little community vibe as well. But I'm really hoping to see if I can get the whole thing done in September. So that'll be my mad challenge. So feel free to follow along and join in. And let's see, maybe we need to have a guess about how big he's going to be. He's not going to be life size, right? But my hand fits inside there, so I reckon an arm's going to come up like that long, maybe. We'll see. But I'll be back with more information on that. And I said thank you so much to Kerry for the support, because we chatted through the idea of what we could do and how I could do it. And of course, I said to Stylecraft for sponsoring me with their yarn support. So I'm going to use a 12mm hook. This is a 15. I don't know where the 12 is. It must be over by Mark. So yeah, that's going to be my main September focus. So if you're here for the ride, I'll do a few extra videos, but what I might do, as I said, they'll either be shorts or I'll do a halfway through. So at the end, middle of September, I'll do a quick check-in video with how I'm getting on, and I can talk in a bit more detail about it. But I'm very excited. So that's all the crafting content that I've got. The only other one I was going to mention, I touched on memberships earlier. So if you have become a member of the Bear Den, thank you so much for popping along and saying hello. I'm not counting these as acquisitions because I haven't bought them, but I'm just showing you. I talked about waiting for some yarn to arrive for my sample, and the yarn's arrived. So Gemma's kindly given me these as yarn support, and if you are part of the Bear Den, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, and the yarn has arrived and I'm ready to go. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you can join the Bear Den. It's $1.99 for bear cubs or $4.99 for grizzly bears. The details will be in the description box below. You'll get an extra video every month talking about what I'm doing over there with the creative, almost business side of Knit 365. And you are also, if you're in the grizzly bear tier, you will also get a live knit along, crochet along. This month is on the 10th of September. So if you want to join my memberships, feel free. I would love to have you over there. Come and find out what I'm doing with this blue yarn. This is my ultimate favorite color yarn that Gemma does. And when I talked to her about yarn, she went, "You're going to want Stansfield, aren't you?" I was like, cobalt blue. It's so good. Look, it matches my band and everything. So yes, so they've arrived. So if you want to find out more, check out the Bear Den details below. And I think that is it for this month's video. Few parish notices. As I said at the beginning, Mark and I have got some fun things planned for the rest of the year. So we are going to Yarndale, which I will need my glamorous assistant to maybe help me. Please, when is Yarndale? 25th, 26th? 26th, 27th? Bear with. Yarndale is in Leeds, it's in Skipton. We're going to stay in Leeds and then we're going to come over. So we're going to be at the show on Sunday. 28th. So it's the 27th and 28th is the show. 27th and 28th of September is Yarndale. So we will be there on the Sunday. Then in October, please, 17th and 18th? No.
Is Glasgow?
Yes. Yeah. Saturday, Sunday, 18th and 19th.
18th and 19th.
18th and 19th of October is the Glasgow School of Yarn. We will also be there for that. I'm not sure if we're coming both days. I think we're only coming Saturday. Yes, we're coming Saturday because we're flying home Sunday. My very good friend, Reese, Glasgow Yarn, we are also Thursday night, Thursday the 16th? Yes. we are doing a dyeing course with Lisa from For the Love of Yarn. So we get to go and have a dye workshop, learn how to dye yarn. You get to dye 100 gram skein and 5 minis. And yeah, I'm going to do that with Reese and we're super excited. So we're flying up Thursday. Reese and I are going to that class on Thursday. Lazy Friday. Then Mark, me and Reese are going to the show on Saturday. So we'll be in Glasgow for that one. And then finally, November the 8th, Make Joy. If I get all 3 of these right, I'm pretty impressed with myself. My memory is terrible for stuff like that. Saturday, the 8th of November, we will be at the Make Joy Festival in London. If I remember, I'll put all the details for these below. There is so it's a small show in London, in Woolwich. And there'll be, I think it's like 20 vendors, but there's also classes, workshops, talks. So it's such a great one-day show in London, and we will be there for that. And also, Saturday afternoon, they're doing Knitters Question Time again as part of the Make Joy day, as part of the event. And I'm going to be on the panel for the Knitters Question Time. So if you are in or around London or the Southeast and you fancy a day out, come along to the show and come and take part in Knitters Question Time. There'll be myself and some dyers and other small business makers in the industry, so that will be really super fun. So we've got some really fun plans for September, October, November. December is Vlogmas and Advent, and I can't wait. These are my months now. I feel like we get to September and come on, it's Knitters Christmas, Mystery Knit Along starts, but it's the Burr months, candles, pumpkin spice lattes. I know lots of people are very spring and summer, so I do have to temper my excitement when I get really excited by this. But I feel like it resets the year for me. My year almost starts in September because there's all the crafting plans. So I've got loads of things planned. Hopefully meet up with the guys November, December. I need to finish my jumper and my mystery bit that goes with it, which only 2 people know what the mystery is. None of the boys do. I've offered to tell them and they don't want to know. It's fine. So yeah, loads and loads of exciting projects. And as usual, too many things that I've got enough time for. I absolutely know that. But do you know what? It's fun. As the t-shirt says that Sandy sent me, it'll all get done. And if it doesn't, it just goes into next year. Because it's a hobby. And I like having lots of big, grand plans. This one I really want to do. The beard is going to be the focus. A, because Mystery Knit Along is coming, and also because it's such a timely thing with the Patterns anniversary. So that's going to be a big focus for the month. What else then? Yeah, so Mystery Knit Along is coming. So Irina and I will be back with our Fibre Chats Knit 365 collaboration for all things Mystery Knit Along. We will hopefully have guest speakers and people come to join us and chat all about things Mystery Knit Along on my channel and Irina's channel. Go and check out Irina Fibre Chats if you don't know her. A wonderful channel, and it'll be so much different this year for me because I got to meet her in Florida. So when I was on holiday, Irina came to Florida and we spent the weekend together, and it was such a fun weekend. And I can't wait to collaborate again. So I think we'll be back. We'll do a live in September. There's been an announcement yesterday when you're watching this, of some new Westwool Hex. We've got Tandem and Bicycle. There's another one, the chunky one, I think. Glow Hair is the mohairy one, but they've got a new one now, Hex, hand dyed. Ooh. So lots to talk about as far as Mystery Knit Along is concerned. What the theme is, it's going to be all different sections and picking up stitches, and am I going to like it? I don't know, but will I do it? Absolutely. So yeah, all of that stuff to come in September as well. So it's going to be busy. So if you are new here and you're kind of on board with the chaos, hit that subscribe button because you will not miss out on any of my crazy content. And if you are already subscribed, hit the bell and then you'll get a notification so you'll never miss out when another video comes. And breathe. And I think this has been quite a high octane video. I feel tired. So if you lot are still here, Thanks for sticking with me. I love this so much. Right, I'm going to wrap this video up. It's just under an hour. I can do the editing bits and I can get this up onto the YouTube ready for you for Monday. So, thank you very much for being here. I will be back next week, hopefully with my spinning video. If not, maybe a follow my week. We might do a follow my week video because I want to get started with Martyn Bear. There'll be a video next week of something. But thank you very much for being here. Thank you for watching, as always, and giving me some of your time. I know there are so many YouTube knitters and crocheters and crafters, and I really love that you've given me a little bit of your time today. So I really do appreciate having you here, and thank you very much. Yeah, let me know in the comments, did you have a good August? I also feel like I didn't reflect on, August was hot, right, in the UK, because it's been summer. So I've also think I've done quite a lot of spinning, considering it's been really warm. So how has the summer been for you? Let me know. Have you done much crafting? Have you got lots of plans? Thoughts on the Martyn Bear, please. And thoughts on Mystery Knit Along. Let me know what you think. Can't wait to hear from you in the comments below. I'll be back next week with a video of some kind. Maybe a little bit lower energy, less chaotic. Who can say? But thank you very much for being here, as I said. And until we speak again, happy crafting.